Hey everyone, and welcome to Money Moves for Teens. My name is Talia Levy, and in this podcast, I will be talking about business, entrepreneurship, and of course, money. I hope you take something away from this episode and enjoy. Spending money can be really fun, especially when it's money you know you've worked for and have been waiting for the moment to spend it on what you want. But once you make your purchase, sometimes there's guilt that comes after. Should I have saved that money instead, or given it to an organization that needed it more than me? Or maybe you get money and after a week you have no idea where it went. You've spent it all, but you forgot what on. A way to take control of your saving and spending while creating mental freedom when it comes to your finances is to start budgeting. This episode, I'm going to talk about what budgeting is and 7 ways budgeting can help you with your money. Budgeting is the process of creating a plan to spend your money. Your plan depends on how much money you have and are making, and you're choosing where each dollar goes in your budget. Some people think of having a budget as restricting and that it's holding them back from their spending when it's actually just the opposite. Having a plan for your money creates freedom for you when it comes to spending, and there are so many reasons why budgeting is helpful. As a teenager, there won't be too many expenses when it comes to our budgets, but even starting at a basic level now will prepare you for adulthood when there will be many bills and things you need to account for. The first reason why making a plan for your money is good is because you can eliminate the guilt you have after making a purchase. As I mentioned in my introduction, you may start to second guess if buying that shirt was well worth the money, or if the money could have been spent on something else. Or maybe your parents are the ones questioning your spending habits. The way budgeting comes into play is, say you make $20 for every lawn you mow. You mow 2 lawns every weekend, making you $40 in a week and $160 in a month. And say you really want a pair of Jordans that are $200. You can add that as a goal into your budget or plan for your money and save up the next couple of months putting aside some money so you end up with enough for the shoes. So for example, you put 60% of your monthly income into the shoes goal, then save the other 40% for the longer term. Every month you are putting in around $100 for the shoes, so 2 months from now you can buy them. You won't feel as guilty because you know you've been saving your money for the long term alongside your short-term savings for the shoes. You know that was a goal of yours that you've been saving up for some time, and now you deserve the shoes. The next reason why budgeting is so helpful is because you won't rely on your impulses to make the purchases. You've already decided how much money you plan to spend, so if something catches your eye at the mall, you can look back at your budget in your spending category and decide if you have enough money. This creates self-control, and as I mentioned in my first episode, it's so simple to just swipe a card and buy something, so having a budget helps to lessen your impulse purchases because there is a plan holding you accountable to your spending. Also, like I was talking about before, with creating a specific savings goal for shoes, doing that creates a plan in advance and gives you time to decide if it's a good buy. So before you spend a large amount of money, it's a good idea to give the thought some time instead of instantly buying and regretting it later. The third reason having a budget is helpful is because you can reveal bad spending habits and cut back on unnecessary expenses. Again, I don't think as teens we're finding unused gym memberships and magazine subscriptions, but sometimes we may wonder where our birthday money went. If you're constantly wondering where your money is going, a budget can work in your favor. Not to be confused with tracking your spending, budgeting is going to help you clearly indicate where you want to spend your money, and it sets up a plan for the future. Tracking your spending is looking at what your past self did. You might need to start with that though to learn what to plan for in your budget. So taking a month to track what you spend can help you see all the places you're spending your money, and it can reveal your habits such as maybe spending most of your money at concessions at school games. You can then make it clear in your budget or your future plan that you will only spend X amount of money a month on that certain thing, and you can cut back on the unnecessary spending. Also, if even after you track your spending and are starting to budget, if you're not sticking to your plan for some reason, that can further reveal what bad spending habits you have, and you can figure out how you want to fix them to save money. The fourth reason having a budget is a good idea is because it can be shared with family. As I mentioned before, if your parents are constantly asking you about how you're managing your money, you can make it clear to them that you have a plan, and by sharing that plan with them, they can be put at ease the next time you take out money to pay for some food because they know you've accounted for it. Also, when you create specific saving goals, it can be nice to let them know about it so they understand what you're working towards and how you plan to set up your budget accordingly. And if you and your family check in regularly about meeting certain saving goals or talking about what you spend your money on the most, you can be held more accountable to your budget because you know someone is waiting to hear about how you did, and it can create good conversation around money with family members. The fifth pro to budgeting as a teenager is that it will create good habits for later. Learning to allocate your money into different areas will help you understand the importance of making a plan for your money so you know exactly where it is going and you're not wasting it on unnecessary things. The sixth reason to budget, which may come in a little later when there are more expenses, is that you can relax and sleep well knowing you've accounted for everything you need. You know you're saving enough for your future car, you know you're giving enough money to different causes, and you know you're putting enough aside to pay for family's gifts during the holidays. In the future, you'll be at ease knowing you've put money aside for the bills, groceries, your child's education. This is how budgeting creates peace of mind and freedom for you. Lastly, the seventh reason budgeting is great is because you can plan for your money differently depending on your personality. There really is a budget for everyone, and there's no one size fits all. If you really want to look at every detail, there are plans where that's possible. If that seems like too much work and you would get discouraged on day one, you can go a simpler route and do a simple percentage split of the money you make into different categories. You may find you like to budget differently than your parents, and that's perfectly okay. I am planning on doing a part 2 of this topic on budgeting, where I'll go over the different methods you can use to budget and what you may be budgeting for as a teenager. So those were the 7 reasons why budgeting is so beneficial. You won't feel guilty spending money, you make less harmful impulse purchases, and you can cut back on unnecessary expenses. Also, you have the option to share your plan with family, it creates good habits for later, it creates peace of mind, and there are so many types of budgets depending on your personality. I explained what a budget is and how it can help, and next week I will follow up with different types of budgets to use and what you can start to plan for at this age. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you got something out of it, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions through my social media. You can find me on Twitter at moneymovesforteens and on my website at moneymovesforteens.weebly.com. All the links will be in this episode description. I hope to see you next week. Bye!